kick ass for the Lord.
Okay, I'm here. I'm sorry. Let me get my apron on as well. Lord Almighty.
I kick ass for the Lord.
Okay. Sorry about that. Oh. Reaper Miniatures, thank you for the raid. OSW Zenkiki, thank you for the sub. Markitect, thank you for the sub. What up, Nurgle Matthew? Exigent Midnight, thank you for the sub. Dinglebergs, thanks for the sub. Let's go! What up, Ben Fett? Have you considered making Vader green? Yeah, it's too late. It's too late, Mark. Share stream. The saga of Red Vader continues. Hopefully it ends today as well. Not hopefully. It will end today. Because, I mean, I'm getting sick of it. I know you guys are getting sick of it, so let's just... I'm not going to try to fix the problems that I feel like exist in my head. I'm just going to chalk it up to a learning lesson and then kind of go from there. Anyways. Yeah, the patience, yeah. I mean... I've done this setup of stream for years. Well, this specific setup for over a year and a half. And even now, I still forget to do things almost every single stream. Like, the reason why I just hit the start button and then nothing happened because I walked off camera because I forgot to put my fucking lav mic on. Like, how do you forget to mic up? Like, I don't know how I forgot to do that, but I just forget random stuff. So I feel you on the on that. Whoa, new intro indeed, yeah. Anyways, let's rock. Got this Vader here. We're gonna paint him, and that's what we're gonna do. Paint cam. Oh, of course, it doesn't work. What up, Amos Dean? How you guys doing? Did you have a good weekend, y'all? For people in the United States, we got 4th of July coming up. I think on Thursday, right? Okay. What am I doing? Oh, yeah. I am killing the Stream Deck app because it sucks and restarting it because it's not working. Canada Day yesterday. Yeah, that's July 1st, isn't it? Look at all them red paints. I'm ready. I'm freaking ready, dude. Otherwise known as Yeehaw Eagle Noise Day. All right, there we go. There we go. All right, let's get a little zoom in, a little focus. And then we'll go from there. Oh. Autofocus. Excellent. I had a great weekend. Finished up my raised garden bed. Nice. I've been wanting to do that for tomatoes. Just finished my work week. About to go play some sick mini agnostic skirmish games. Nice. Which ones are you playing? Dang, that eagle noise just increased the freedom in my office by 50%. Hell yeah, dude. Isn't Canada Day like Canada Thanksgiving where it just kind of accidentally happens? I don't know. I would not know. HUD the Hobby Daddy with a fatty sub. Thank you, HUD. Appreciate you. All right. So last time we were painting, we were just mixing up 2 red paints. The Chimera Red, which is a very lovely, warm, saturated red, with a desaturated red color from AK. I can't actually remember which one it was. I think it was Dark Shadow. So we'll just kind of We did like an intermediate mix. You can see there's a little bit of a previous layer there and some of the deepest parts of the cloak. And then one layer of highlight. I accidentally got some paint on his helmet. That's okay. Easy enough to fix. So yeah, we'll just continue from there and we'll just finish this big old cloak up. Doomed and Hobgoblin. Nice. Hobgoblin is a lot of fun. I know you mentioned hides on reds being either pink or actually white. Do you have a preference, or do you decide based on the model? I think the answer is they're both, right? You need a little bit of both. And I don't know if it kind of depends on what you're painting exactly. Like everything in life, if it's a more reflective material, it's going to reflect back a brighter highlight. So in the case of like Vader's glossy armor that I'm trying to nail here, there's a little bit of both. There's a little bit of pink and a little bit of white, but it's very sparingly used. But on other elements that aren't supposed to be as reflective, like there's say a cloth or something like that, you won't have the white specular highlights. It'll go up to maybe a light pink, maybe even just something a little bit above a mid-tone red. You know, it depends. Canada Day is the anniversary of the Canadian Confederation, which happened on July 1st, 1867, with the passing of the British North America Act. Nice. What up, As Thought? Thank you for the sub. Appreciate it. 30 months. That's a lot. That's a lot. All right. I have nice shorts on right now, and so I can't get paint on them, or else my wife will like murder me. Oh yeah, give me some of that splooge. All right. So I'm gonna paint like right here. Let's make sure that focus is looking swank. Let's increase the exposure just. Don't you fucking dare. Just a bit. There we go. All right, y'all, let's do this. So just to make sure I have the right color, I am gonna mix up some of this red with some of this dark to saturated red that I think we were using. I'll just kind of do some painting here just to see if that is indeed what we were using. I definitely need a larger brush. Oh, that's the pure. That's ink. I don't need that. Okay, it's a little bit more saturated than the previous mixture, but it's possible that I just didn't do an aggressive enough mix. That is totes fine. Okay. Hey all, did I miss the discussion of that epic lightsaber battle in episode 5 of The Acolyte? No, we didn't discuss it. I actually hadn't seen that episode as of the last stream. But yeah, in case you didn't know, maybe a mild spoiler, it's a pretty cool combat sequence in episode 5 of The Acolyte that does a decent amount in redeeming, you know, some of the series for some people. It's pretty cool. I really enjoyed it. I fear talking about it. I don't want to spoil anything for anybody. All right. I'm looking for a bigger brush. It doesn't need to have a lot of accuracy. It just needs to be a fat one so that I can hold a lot of paint and not be like ultra ratty. You know, I don't need it to be perfect, but think I actually tried this brush last time and it was terrible. Dinkelbergs! 1, 2, 3 with the 5 gifted subs. Thank you. I appreciate it, my dude. Hey, I fucked up how CGI Luke just showed up from the world between worlds and saved the day. What? Any advice on painting cloaks? Yeah, we're gonna do that exact thing today. Let's talk about it. I mean, I don't know if I have any advice specifically on painting red cloaks. I think I just have advice on painting cloaks. So I'm just gonna talk at you for a little bit, and then hopefully that will be sufficient. So I think one of the most challenging parts about painting a cloak is the fact that it has the volumes running in the direction that your imagined light source is typically traveling in. So that is to say that, like, often you have volumes that are running up and down, and you have light sources that are running up and down. It's a lot easier when the detail is perpendicular to your light source, because then it's pretty obvious where the highlights and shadows are supposed to fall. But when it's not doing that, then it's a little bit more challenging. I'm gonna move this camera up just a bit. I seem to be pushing out a bit. Sorry, deep cut Star Wars joke there. I mean, I think it's just a reference to another. It's a reference to Mandalorian. Doesn't he show up in CG? I don't think I've seen all of the Mandalorians. I recently restarted it just from the beginning. I share like a Disney account with my mom or something like that, and she loves watching it. So it's hard to tell which ones I've actually seen and which ones I haven't seen, because I know she's watched them all. So yeah, I did start rewatching Mandalorian, and I finished the first season. My only issue with The Mandalorian is that it's kind of like an anthology TV show. It's like there are many episodes where they don't really advance the main narrative and kind of just like do a side quest, and that's fun. But I think the best episodes are the ones where they actually like talk about the main storyline and go from there. Anyways, back on red cloaks. So there can be a temptation when you are first starting to paint a red cloak to like leave some of the deepest shadow like in these areas at the top of the shoulders, like where it's like, you know, the sculpted detail is starting to begin right there. And so like your mini painter brain is like, okay, it's sinking down into the model. I should leave some shadow there. But I think on the very first highlights you're gonna do, you probably should just totally obliterate that spot and just cover it up entirely. Because this part is really close to his shoulder, and there isn't any kind of detail blocking light from getting into these little pockets. So putting a couple layers of highlight in there to increase its value, I think is the right move. And then once you start to highlight to even brighter and brighter areas, then you can leave this beginning area alone. But otherwise, it's pretty straightforward. We're leaving the shadow in these big valleys. I know this wasn't what we were talking about, but it's crazy to me that they did a CGI Luke face over a guy who looks that much like Luke. Best episode was Bill Burr. It's funny you mentioned that, because that is the most side questy episode of the first season of The Mandalore. Like, he flies into a totally unknown space station that we've never heard of before, meets a bunch of characters that have never been introduced before, goes on a complete side quest, and then that's the whole episode. He comes back and then flies out of the space station and then blows up. Like, no part of that episode advanced the story of Mandalorian, Moff Gideon, etc., etc., etc. It was cool, but I just think, for my personal tastes, just too much of the show is like side quests. It doesn't make it bad, though. I'm not gonna say it's bad for that reason. I'm just saying that my preference is more of the main story. Wasn't Bill Burr also in Andor as an Imperial officer? Which would be awesome, because that would kind of dovetail into the story they were telling in Mandalorian. All right, now with like kind of a layered consistency of paint here, I'm just mixing more and more Chimera red into my paint. So it's becoming more and more saturated. And I'm just gonna keep layering on paint. Nice explanation. How would you make the red lighter and darker? Do you mix between the white and the black? Um, I guess it depends on what you want to do. A lot of people will say that it is sacrilegious to mix any highlight for a color with white and black. Obviously, you're using some amount of white and black all the time when you're lightening and darkening colors, but you know, people prefer, or they can tend to prefer, things like, say, navy blue to darken down something, or an off-white yellow to darken down something. Those colors have black and white in them, but they also have color in them. So while you are reducing the value of that color, you're also maybe introducing an interesting hue. So for this guy, I think I have been using largely white and black just because this has been a very big experiment in just using the hue of red. I don't want to introduce too many extra colors. No, the only crossover character with Andor is Mon Mothma. Okay. There's like a scene in Andor where like, or maybe I'm really misremembering this, but like I thought there was a scene where like they go into, they're like oh it's like the Wages of Fear episode where like they have to drive a truck that might explode and they end up at a bunker, and then like I thought the character that Andor spoke to was Bill Burr. I can't remember. It's been so long. But anyways, clearly I'm wrong. It's actually a really disturbing development that they are no longer willing to recast or even dual cast younger and older roles like upcoming Here, filmed by Zemeckis. Some poor schmuck is going to get paid scale to be stand-in for someone's CGI face and never get to deliver any lines on screen that they can use to get a better job. Sag. I want to see a black Imperial symbol on the back of the cloak. Oh, absolutely. I'm going to add one of those. Oh, you're right. Saw Gerrera is an Andor or something like that. I use some fluorescent orange to brighten up rich reds. It really makes things like red cloth pop. Yeah, you could do something like that as well. Not gonna lie, I actually enjoyed Acolyte. By the way, not to bring it back up, I hesitated on watching because everyone's shitting on it. Overall, it's great. A few things were met. The new baddie I thought was pretty solid so far. Thank you about complimenting the cloak so far. We haven't done a whole lot yet. Yeah, I can tell that I'm mixing up Andor and Mandalorian in my head right now. Okay. Let's keep going. What I love so far is how readily you can just tell that this temperature of red is very warm in comparison to the helmet and the armor. And the helmet and the armor, I think, once contextualized with this temperature of red, will feel like a bridge to the other more maroon kind of like jumpsuit thing he has going on. At least that is the hope. We will see if that is actually what ends up happening. One thing I really like about the Chimera colors is I can like lay down a bead of thick paint and then with a wet brush just really like feather it out. And this doesn't work for all colors as straightforward. Like I know that like other tones aren't gonna do as well, but red is a pretty forgiving pigment as far as I can say. I think the only amount of cloak you're going to see from the front, though, is going to be on his shoulders. So I got to make sure that that hue is nice and visible. I know you're working on it, but it does kind of like look like red leather, like for his cloak right now. Will you be matching the inner cloth tabard thing with the cloak? No, that's intentionally supposed to be a different like color hue of red. You're saying that this red looks like red leather, like this cloak? I mean, I guess I don't know what you mean by that. Are you saying it looks shiny? Are you saying it looks desaturated? What do you mean when you say red leather? That can mean a lot of different things. Maybe that was a old comment based on when the red was more brown. Who knows? Who knows? So I'm dabbing my brush in some water, getting rid of most of the water on a paper towel, and then kind of feathering that red back. Hey, long-time viewer on YouTube, first-time viewer on Twitch. What up, Gnome Father Miniatures? Welcome. This is going to help with my future Night Sisters paint job. Nice. Love to hear that. All right, making sure I get this nice saturated red color all the way up under his helmet. Even though maybe the helmet would cast a shadow, I still want there to be this hue visible from the front, because I'm just curious what it's going to do for the paint job if you can see this kind of more fiery orangey red from the front of the model, along with all the other kind of like scarlets and cold reds that I've been trying to use on the Mini. Don't touch the wet paint in my hand. And for like the last couple of layers, I've really been just using the same red over and over again, but just like with thin applications, you know. Sorry, red pleather got kind of a Vader Daddy look. Vader Daddy look. Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm not sure. That's because it's so shiny at the moment. Okay. Understood. That's a thing. Yeah, talking about Star Wars. Should I specify that I have a 3D printed army when playing games like AOS? No, I mean, like, you can if you want to. I mean, if you want to avoid any potential imagined awkwardness between someone who might have an issue with you and your 3D printed army, you can always bring it up. There's nothing wrong with bringing it up. But I'd be very surprised if you're going to run into a lot of people that, you know, actively are going to try to avoid playing you because of that choice. How often do I end up clear coating my miniatures? I don't know, somewhat often. I don't do it routinely, that is for dang sure. And it's not because I think it's a waste of time. I just kind of never remember to do it. All right, I'm gonna mix some of this desaturated red into my Chimera red. I'm gonna kind of thin it down a little bit, maybe get some off my brush here, and I'm gonna try to kind of paint it in here. I'm gonna clean off my brush and a wet paper towel, and then I'm gonna come back in and kind of feather it out a little bit. I don't really care if my brush is a little ratty looking at this stage. Doesn't really matter. I'm hoping that this is going to smooth out some of my brush strokes, but also maybe kill some of the contrast, because this cloak is a little strange, because like not only do you have these areas here where it dips down, but this whole platform is like pointed straight up at the sky. So it's just like, you know, this would likely all be painted realistically with like the same kind of color. So I'm just trying to have some shading in there, but not so much that it like sticks out like a sore thumb. That was just a reference to a movie title, Evan. It wasn't a promise of anything getting done on time. But this stream, we'll finish them. All right, that red paint is still wet a little bit, so I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. Thank you, Amos team. Appreciate it. Malev, what up, Malev? What paint line am I using for the model? All different paint lines. Literally 4 or 5 different paint lines. Thanks, Evan. Appreciate it. How many Shatterpoint models do you own that have / feature lightsabers? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, 5. 4 Inquisitors and Darth Vader. I mean, I have other ones like Darth Maul and stuff, and like Anakin from the starter set, but I haven't played with them at all, and they're not really assembled. Yeah, of the ones that I want to play with, I have 5 lightsaber wielding homies. So I am just really like, I'm doing a lot of feathering. I'm applying thick opaque paint where it really matters, you know, pretty sparingly actually, but I have a pretty wet brush here. And so over time, I'm able to really kind of like pull it out, and the water in my brush is mixing with the paint to create a nice thin dilution. And I'm just trying to kind of suss out some of these blends here, make them a little bit smoother, make my red brighter and more contrasty. I think actually at this stage, we're going to add some brighter red. I might try to use this Liquitex Fluo red that I have. Is lightsaber going to be green? I think we're going to go with a dark saber. We've bounced back and forth quite a bit from, you know, lightsaber to a Sith Warblade to all manner of different options. But I like the dark saber the most because it's kind of an inverse of Darth Vader, right? You have a black dude with a red saber, and now you have a red dude with the black saber. So I think that's a cool idea, even though it's not like necessarily lore accurate or whatever. Is that Vader's original base? Yeah, it is. It's the one that comes with this like scenic one with where he's fighting Obi based on the scenes from the Obi-Wan show. I also don't like the Shatterpoint bases, not because they're bad, but because I just prefer to kind of like be able to make my own thing. So I'm right there with you, Jay. 5. I see what you're doing, Malev. Malev, you sly bastard. I see what you're doing. I vote green lightsaber and a freehand snowflake on the cape. All right, you can do that on yours. I think that would look great. You give it a shot. Send me a picture when it's done. Green product like Christmas. Yeah, maybe a little bit. Yeah, the Imperial insignia definitely has a little bit of a snowflake vibe. That is for sure. All right. Once the paint has dried, we can see we're still having some brush strokes here. So now, again, with that mixture of red and a desaturated red and a thinner dilution, I'm just going to kind of paint on either side of that that highlight. And then with a clean brush, I'll feather right on top of that blend. This is not an efficient way of painting, like by any stretch of the imagination. I'm not laboring under that delusion, but that's one way that I know how to kind of like solve some of the larger blending problems on a big surface like this, which is, you know, it's kind of a challenge, a little bit of a challenge to make it look nice and pretty. The bigger the surface area, the more difficult it is going to be. Fine, maybe I will. I look forward to it. What up, Pandarian? Speaking of Star Wars and also The Mandalorian that I am rewatching right now, I think The Mandalorian has the best open. It has the best first episode, period, for any Star Wars TV show. And also the best just like first 5 minutes before the title sequence. It is so fucking good. Like when he just like goes and claims that bounty and that like fish guy is freaking out and he finds all like the bounties of people that he's like put in carbonite. And then he just shoves him in the closet and freezes him too. Like that whole sequence is so fucking good. I love it. I am pretty much done with my Infinity Night Force. Night Force, it's an interesting phrase. I have been really hating that game. Probably gonna buy another 30 minis. Okay, something is not lining up here, Evan. Did I hear Star Wars Christmas? Star Wars Christmas special Shatterpoint theme. Oh my god, dude. Oh, do you? God, of course you have it on DVD. What up, Plankwalker? Can bring you in cold, or I can bring you in warm. Yeah, no, that's a great line as well that I like that they reuse throughout the TV show. I think it's wonderful. But yeah, just like he says very little in the first like 5 minutes. And it's almost like horrific, like that guy's like downstairs in the ship trying to escape, pretending he's going to the bathroom or whatever, and then like, you know, he's like, he discovers all those people that have been hunted, and he's like, holy shit, what's happening? And then like he's just right behind him, and he just shoves him right in that fucking closet. It's like, oh my god, this is like a horror movie. I love it. So good. So good. I think half of the battle when painting a really big surface like this is just keeping track of what paint is in your brush and having an understanding of how diluted the paint is, how much water is in your brush and how much that's affecting your paint and stuff like that. Because I think in watching me paint this model and this cape, it probably kind of looks like I'm not doing a whole lot of anything. Or at least what I'm doing seems maybe a little aimless. And I totally understand that. I'm trying to do a lot of little things. So I just put down a layer of diluted paint. I clean my brush by eating my paint like a fucking savage. Okay, now I didn't. Now I used just water. And now I'm like trying to feather around where that paint is still wet. So I'm like trying to blend it out a little bit with water. I think this part right here, like there's more of a curve inward here, and then it starts to flatten out right here. And so I'm trying to bring some more red back here, which is why I like feathered it into that area, but not like so much into this area. And then you kind of just do that 18 times in a row, and then you start to get somewhere, you know? What brush are you using on the cape? At the moment, I'm using a size 2 Chimera chisel profile brush. They call it the Arrow profile, actually. All you really need for this is just a large brush, because you're not going to get away with using a small brush on this large a surface. You're going to run out of paint before you finish a brush stroke. So can't be having that. All right, so we did get some of this fluo red out, which honestly, on the palette just looks pink. Doesn't really look fluorescent. So we'll try to use it as such. Oh wow, this paint has 0 opacity. Look at that, incredible. I just put that paint on, and then I spread it around, and it literally vanished. It is nowhere to be found. Wow, incredible. So an 8304. I don't know what an 8304 is. That it's not Raphael. It's like from a miniature company brand. I don't know if Raphael makes a profile like that for their brushes, like a chisel profile or whatever. An 8404 is not big enough. That isn't the case. An 8404, I mean, an 8404 goes up to like size 10, so certainly that could be big enough. But I just don't have any large ones. I think the largest 8404 I have is a size 2, which is, you know, it's pretty big. But I'd prefer like a size 4 or a size 5 for a thing like this. But I don't really have brushes like that ever, honestly. I really hate painting capes and ropes. Capes and ropes, those are very different things. I can't get good blends. Maybe I should be more patient. Yeah, I wish I could like tell you like some kind of like mechanical process that was just like a guaranteed win every single time, but I would be lying to you from my perspective at the very least. I'm using more of this fluo red here. I'm just kind of trying to see if what I just did was like not normal, or fluo paint in general, like from other hobby brands like Vallejo and stuff, has terrible opacity. So I really wouldn't be surprised if it's more of a material thing than it is a Vallejo sucks in making paint thing. Because, you know, they've been in the business for a bit. They kind of know what they're doing. But yeah, there's definitely a certain amount of patience required. You're not wrong about that. You need to be willing to kind of try some stuff out and just see, and then, you know, try again and do slight variations and see what happens as a result. I mean, honestly, I could be done. This is perfectly fine for the back cape of a model. I don't need to go further than this. I am going to just kind of bump up the shoulders a skosh. Man, it looks so vibrant. It just turns into orange. That's incredible. You heading out?
Yep.
How,
The audio is uploaded.
is it to Buzzsprout and Patreon?
Buzzsprout, Patreon's taking forever, so all the information's in. It's just
Okay.
yeah. On iTunes, I like to fill that out.
Okay. Nice. And did you figure out how to do the upload with Adobe Encoder or no?
No.
Okay. All right, cool. All right, we'll have to look into that at a different time. Okay. Sounds good, man. See you.
Let's figure out this.
Yeah. I talked to Amber and she said that we should just do a different weekend, but I want to see what the rain.
Still 2 more months left.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
Well,
but then we can hang out.
yeah, Thursday.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
All right, see you, man.
See ya. Pansy Bear, thank you for the sub. Appreciate it. If it's a gaming model, I don't have energy such time to glaze over and over and over on a cloak. Yeah, I get that. But I feel like for a game like Shatterpoint, where the models are kind of more display because they're a larger scale, I don't mind spending a bit extra time, especially on a character as iconic as Darth Vader, you know? But it really kind of comes down to, like, are you having fun? Are you having fun painting the models? If so, continue. If not, then move on, you know? What are your thoughts on that new brush? I don't know. I don't really think I don't think the chisel shape is doing a whole lot for me. I don't think it's taking away from what I'm trying to do, but I don't know if it's really like better than the typical, what you might call a round brush, right? So if I rotate these two brushes at the same time, you're gonna see their profiles change substantially. Well, at least the arrow one, not the round one. The round one is just, you know, it's round. I don't know if it really changes a whole lot. I think if you painted like a lot of busts or large figures where like having this extra capacity for paint was useful, maybe you would notice. Maybe I'm benefiting from it right now, painting this large cloak, but it's not something that I am like actively noticing. But it's not bad. They're not bad brushes. Stream's choppy. Are we dropping frames? Ah. I know the problem. I think the problem should be done. Yeah, okay. It looks like it's green again. Normally my podcast editor, who you just saw me talking to, normally he comes in on Monday to do the episode, but he came in today on Tuesday, and then he just uploaded the audio podcast to Buzzsprout and whatever, you don't care. But anyways, that was causing some issues with the stream. He was uploading and then I was dropping frames. Just finished watching some videos from your channel. What a nice surprise to see a stream. What up, Rather TH? Thanks for coming from the videos to the stream. Welcome. All right. All right. Enough horsing around here. All right. I'm gonna be done painting that. I'm gonna paint the chains at his neck for his cloak. I'm gonna fix up the helmet that I messed up. Did I accidentally start recording? No, every stream is recorded all the time. I was dropping frames, and now I am no longer dropping frames, as far as I'm aware. Yeah, so the upload speed is solid. I'm not dropping frames anymore. It might be just a thing about the stream catching up with the actual thing. The actual reality. I try refreshing the stream. Everything's good on my end. It was a temporary issue. If you're having frame drop issues, give it a refresh. Good old F5. That'll solve the issue probably. All right. Where's my fucking white paint? There it is, bud. All right. Is everyone having performance issues right now? Okay, cool. Whew. I never know how to fix the problem if you were to come back and be like, oh, I still have an issue. I'd be like, oh God. Good now? Wonderful. Okay, good to hear. All right, so he's got some chain. At his neck here. And we're going to make a gray NMM. Which is basically just white and black, but with a little bit of red mixed in. So it's, you know, we're living in that red world still. The thing is, I don't really know if you'll be able to really tell. Probably not. It's more of a subtle thing. But I also want to do that exact same thing to these stripes on his chest. Before we do that, though, let's just fix the helmet. So for the helmet, I used Ultra Krill, which is a different red, a Kickstarter paint made by, I think, a German company. This red is also extremely saturated, but it's more of a cold red, whereas Chimera's is very vibrant. You can see how different the helmets are in comparison. Sorry, from the cape, it is quite different. All right. Actually, you know what? It's been such a long time since I painted this helmet. I can't even really remember exactly what paints I used. It's kind of funny. So So like here, I'm just mixing black and white in to get my gradations. Good enough. No one's gonna be able to tell. All right, now we gotta paint these stripes on his shoulder armor here. And we're gonna do the same thing we did with the chain, but it'll be hopefully more obvious. The gray will be a warm gray. Glad to hear everyone it's good on everyone's end. Yeah, not gonna do that, Mike Janae. Retro Evil Inc. is saying that it is dying again. No gold pinstripes. Still haven't dropped any frames. Still looks okay. So I think it's good on my end. Or haven't dropped any extra frames, I should say. Okay. This is going to be interesting. I don't know what this is going to look like. The back of my hat keeps hitting my camera, and so we're just gonna cock my hat off to the side like an idiot. I learned something looking at a model that I really like lately, and I was just kind of taken aback at how little black they were using in the shadows of their NMM. And so I'm gonna try that. I'm gonna try to not have a lot of contrast in my shadows, or not, have less contrast in my shadows, I suppose I should say. So we're gonna get nice bright highlights right at the tip, kind of mimicking the highlights on the red armor. And same up here at the top of the chest. Going back to 2002. What up, Overlord Tweak? You say currently finishing up my first bust, and that I started 2 years ago. I set it aside for too long, and now I'm finally getting back to it. All right, awesome. Good luck. Oh man, this spells the end of my big Winsor and Newton. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. try to get a little bit more dark shadow right in here. That's not that much darker. Let's see if we can add some red in here. Okay. Let's see if I can ping some of these edges with some edge highlights. All right. Some of them not so bad. All right, we need some black ink. Where's my black ink? There it is. Just trying to paint nice, thin black lines on either side of these gray stripy stripes. I'm kind of fucking up though. Getting a little too overzealous here with my black, and it's causing me to get some black in my pinkish red highlights. Oh god, where did that black paint come from? What the fuck? My fingernail? What the fuck? That was weird. Okay. What up, Jiminy Paints? How do I have my bits organized? I have them over in this like wall-mounted thing I got from the Container Store, and then they're all labeled, and I label them like this. I have Wood Elf heads, Wood Elf arms, Wood Elf miscellaneous. And then for things that I have less of, I have one little box called Fantasy Miscellaneous. I also have Forest Spirit arms, Forest Spirit heads, Forest Spirit miscellaneous. But I also have like the same thing: fantasy miscellaneous, fantasy arms, fantasy human heads, fantasy human bodies, undead heads, Dark Eldar arms, Dark Eldar miscellaneous. Basically, I just create what makes sense. So I have these little, drawers that are about this big, and whatever collection of bits can fit in here comfortably with some growing room, that is what that's a category. So I don't like have, if I bought a couple of Cawdor dudes, I don't have like a whole little drawer for Cawdor arms, because that wouldn't take up enough space to be justified. I don't have that many Cawdor bits, so I just have one Cawdor drawer and I put everything in there. But for the things that I have a lot of, then I kind of break it out into smaller categories. Yeah, it depends. Depends what kind of bits you got. All right, whatever. That's good enough. Let's put one of the Imperial decals that I custom made on this dude's cloak. I got a lot. I should ask Dan. Yeah, Dan's just got like endless boxes of stuff. What up, Noir Deus? All right, I need some custom decals. Let's see what we got in the old. It's very possible that these decals are just out somewhere on my desk and I just can't see them. Okay. Oh, that might be where they are. Yep, that's where they are. All right, so a while back, I printed out some Imperial decals for some custom laser printer decal paper to use them for Shatterpoint. I actually don't think I have a big enough one. So I would like a very large one, like right there. I thought I had bigger ones. I thought my Inquisitor had like a massive one on him. But maybe that isn't the case. Let's see, did I just like lose them and they're in here somewhere? Yes, okay, I knew there were bigger ones. Okay. So here they are. Here are the larger ones. So when it comes to custom-made decals, one thing that's really good is to try to cut the decal out as close as possible to the actual sticker, because any of that clear film around the outside, especially if it's jaggedly cut, is gonna show up very obviously. And so a great question is how do you cut out a circular thing? That looks a little too small. I don't really know the best way to do that, but one way that I was considering doing it was by grabbing a brass pipe or any metal pipe that's hollow, sharpening the end, and then just cutting it out with a brass pipe. I like this idea just because, unlike my circle cutter, it won't leave a little pin mark in the middle, and also my circle cutter can't even get that small anyway. So here's an option for cutting circles and things. This little guy. You can set the diameter by loosening this and dragging it left and right, and then you stick it into your material and then you spin, and then it'll cut. But obviously this doesn't work for very small things, and obviously it doesn't work for things that you don't want there to be a hole in the middle of them or a little pinhole. This brass pipe would work swimmingly for that size of decal, but for this one it's a little. Testing. All right, we're back online. Sorry about that, guys. Thanks for letting me know. Okay, like I was saying, we're gonna cut this circular thing out with an X-Acto knife first, and then with these fingernail scissors that I have that have a curved edge on them. It's for fingernails, but it's nice because you can really ease the shape very nicely because it's curved. You're not gonna get many jagged lines. We could also just. Here, I'll just do this. Man, this chair is so squeaky. Can you guys hear my chair squeaking a lot? Like, is it obnoxious? Can't hear it, not terrible. Sometimes it sounds like an anime girl. Where's Vader? Vader's off to the side here. We're just preparing a decal for him to go on his cloak. I wouldn't call it obnoxious, but I can hear it. All right, cool. Not a big deal. All right, so now, this is just one of those things. at least this particular solution, that's just gonna take a little bit of time to finesse. And so let's finesse. Yeah, nice little curve there. We'll just kind of continue. Chair squeak is so crisp. Not even bothersome. Nice. It's a chunky boy who has a chair not rated for his weight. I am used to chair squeaks. Gotcha. Okay. This chair, funnily enough, is the chair my parents got me for mini painting when I got into high school. So it's from my freshman year, so when I was 14. So this chair is 18 years old. I don't know why I continue to use it, but it's fine. It's very squeaky. We gotta rotate this a bit more. There's a little bit of blue showing on the edge. It's not a big deal because that will ultimately end up being clear. What you don't want is you just don't want there to be like jagged edges. Okay, look at that. Nice little circle. If it ain't broke, exactly. Add some lube to it. Yeah, that probably solved the problem. No issue. Also, I'm for repairing something over replacing it. You know, in theory, I am also for that. I just am not very good at fixing stuff, and so there's not a whole lot that I can repair. Actually, my laundry machine broke, and I somehow managed to fix that, and that felt really good. And then I pressed my luck. My snowblower isn't starting, and so I figured I could fix that, and so I tried to replace the spark plug, and I tried to fix the carburetor, which I figured got some gasoline in it and got gunked up, and unfortunately neither of those two fixes worked, and now I'm like, you know, sad now. It's like, oh, I thought I was hitting my stride here. Nope. Nope. Yes, it is perfectly shaped like my bush. Combustion engines are indeed complicated. My weed whacker also is not starting. My first idea with what's wrong with my lawnmower is just simply that. I didn't tighten down the spark plug to spec. I'm hoping that's the issue. My dryer broke and I fixed it. Felt like a god. Yeah, 100%, bro. I know exactly what you're feeling like. After 17 years of playing 40K, I'm thinking about jumping ship over to AOS. Okay. Every damn time I'm playing at a game store, y'all AOS guys, like you're having more fun than me. Yeah, go for it, man. I don't know if it's that big of a deal. I feel like people talk about switching from one game to the other like it's a huge transition, but like it's the other premier game made by the same developer. The rules are written in a very similar like design language. The models are sculpted in a very similar design language. I don't think it'd be too much of a transition. So no fear. If it seems like people are having fun, you know, follow the fun, dude, for sure. All right, so I have micro set and micro sol, and it's kind of funny if you read the instructions on the front of the bottle. They kind of say they're the same thing, right? So they both say they're setting solutions for decal. One says soften decals and improves adhesion. The other says softens decals to conform to irregular surfaces. Also a decal remover, also for a painted on look. I would not be surprised if these are like the exact same base material, but just one is more diluted than the other one. You know, I bet that's really all there is to it. It doesn't matter really. We're putting it on a very forgiving surface here. Either one will be fine. I used to be a small engine mechanic. Oh, that's cool. I think it has more to do with the monetary investments involved. Oh, because you spent so much money in 40K and now you don't want to spend money in AOS? Maybe that's what it is. Like plastic, cement, and thinner. Yeah, kind of like that, yeah. Getting an AOS now after holding out from GW Games for almost a decade. Hope it is good. It's not my favorite miniature war game. Like, that is for sure. But it's definitely not a bad one. And also the models are fucking beautiful. All right, so that's gonna stick there for a little bit, and then we'll put some micro soul on top of it. Like a pro. There actually is a bit of a bubble here in the decal, but that will be solved by our micro soul. I've been playing Malifaux for a long time, not dropping that, just supplementing with some Skaven. Nice. Sounds like a good time. I'm going to toss together a Spearhead. Sylvaneth is only 10 dudes, just needs to find some beastmen so I can bash them into some fawns. Nice. They are both 2 butoxyethanol. That is chemical, that is Vallejo airbrush cleaner and flow improver. Harry Triangle, brrr. Had a gay old time playing Munda. Everyone is cool as hell, and the game is fun and dynamic. I'm glad to hear that. Yes, indeed. Give me that painted on look. Have to be kind of careful with micro soul. I mean, honestly, with both of them, they're both going to weaken the decal. They're going to make it thinner. Or whatever. It's like kind of like, yeah, melting it down so that it conforms to the surface better. But you can't really abuse this, like this tiny little sticker. Fuck. What happened to my paper towel? I guess I put it over there. Okay. That's what the sun smells like. Trying to make sure I'm having no wrinkles on the edges. Just really trying to flatten it out here. All right, let me dry that. I'm gonna take a look at it, and then if it looks good, put some varnish on top of it. Okay, so it's dry. You can see because no part of the decal around it looks wet anymore. I'm not seeing any wrinkles on the edges. It's a nice flat sticker. And so now to fully meld it into the surface, because it looks like it looks glossier than the surrounding areas, we'll try to apply a varnish to it. Which by try, I mean we are going to succeed in doing that. It shouldn't be that hard. But what I'm gonna do to kind of like ease into the right finish is I'm gonna get some, I think matte finish. And I have ultra matte finish, but I think I'll start with matte finish. Actually, fuck it. We'll do ultra matte, but we'll thin it with some water and we'll apply it slowly to kind of sneak into the right level of matteness. Because, I don't really have, I don't know what Chimera uses. Actually, you know what? Chimera does give you a medium, don't they? Oh, they give you a satin medium. Fuck. Okay, never mind. There might be some, whatever, I don't care. All right, so we're gonna use AK Interactive Ultra Matte here, and then we'll mix it with some water, and then we'll kind of just paint over it. And then we'll dry it, and we'll take a look, and we'll dry it. We'll kind of keep applying layer after layer of diluted varnish until we get a look that is close to the paint. Might get there in one go, who knows? The model guys told me to just let the sole sit on there and it'd flatten itself out. Matt is always jealous of Ultra Matte. You gotta varnish right away, worried about any moisture or solvent trapped beneath? No, I'm not worried. It's such little amount of moisture, and I just nailed it with a hair dryer for a solid couple of seconds there. I'm pretty sure it's all sorted out. I could be wrong. I've done this before, and it's worked out okay long term. But yeah, it's such a small amount of moisture that I doubt it's gonna cause a huge problem. I'm not going to go too far beyond the bounds of the decal. All right. That was the first layer of varnish. I think we're gonna get there in one more layer of paint or varnish. See if I can just feather out some of this varnish here. Because I could start to see a ring where I had painted the varnish on, and I don't want that to happen. I'm waiting to get Dracula's America, so I have an excuse to get Civil War models and some spooky boys. That sounds like a lot of fun. What up, Cornflake Justin? Sorry, just wanted to mute. Mike's not dead. Just wanted to mute myself because I was just going back and forth between applying more layers of varnish and drying it and stuff like that. But I think we're kind of there. Maybe it's a little bit more satin than the cape, but like it's like in real life, it looks fully integrated into the cloak, which is nice. I think it looks really nice. It's like way better than anything I could ever do freehand, and so I think it's fun. Nice little Imperial logo there on the cloak, right in the corner. The music makes you want a chocolate shake. Nice. 24 hours is what it took to complete my Duchess. Awesome, that's pretty good. That's pretty fast. Mic check, mic check. All right, cool. So he's done. Now we just need to scratch build a dark saber, which I don't think is gonna be that hard. And there's two ways you can go about sculpting the business end of a weapon that I know of. But let me just quick look up a dark saber and see what we can see here. I don't think it's a very complicated shape. All right, so it is gonna be, okay, so a couple things we're noticing here, and we're gonna exaggerate these details because we're painting in miniature. We had a nice straight line on the back, no funny business. And then we have the edge of the blade that comes out from the handle and the guard. So it juts out. It's pretty straight. There's a slight taper, and then it hits a point right here, and then increases the taper right toward the tip. This is gonna be hella easy to do. This is no thing. All right, so there's two ways to make a blade like this, again, that I'm familiar with. One way is by cutting it out of styrene, which we're gonna try today. And the other way is by making a very nice thin layer of milliput, drawing your shape on the milliput, and then cutting it out and sanding it and filing it super nicely. I think that way is better for larger weapons. I think for a small thing like this, styrene is the way to go. Which Duchess? I believe my miniature, the Duchess. I still have a model called the Duchess, which is a female vampire character in kind of like a Baroque period clothing with a cool rapier. You can find her at miniac.co. And then I also sell a little digital course along with that model. It teaches how to paint the box art, brushstroke for brushstroke. But it also teaches you a lot more than just how to paint the model. I would look at the source material. That's a toy made by some third party that doesn't look licensed. You know, I don't know if it's really gonna be that different, but I will humor the suggestion. So maybe there's a slight difference. So it does jut out. There is a straight line. It does taper quickly. And then there's another taper right here at the tip where it goes, shing, goes even faster right into that edge. Again, that's not a thing you're gonna really notice at miniature scale. And not even a thing that I think I can even accomplish, if I'm being quite honest. Let's see here. I got a lot of styrene, so I can kind of pick and choose my material thickness here. I don't think I want it to be that thick, because it would look kind of goofy. But also, I don't want it to be so thin that it looks like flimsy and dorky. Let's see what we got. I think this is the right stuff. And then we can suss out the final shape with a file and some sanding. Okay. Oh, you know what? Maybe I just have a small piece of styrene that's already the right shape. Try that out. Basically a lightsaber machete. Yeah, pretty much like that. I'm also painting a Duchess, the one from Ghostfire Gaming. Not taking 24 hours. Nice. Yes, the Milliput is fun to work with. It's also very sandable. It's very nice, but the one problem is it's quite brittle. And so sometimes you will, if you're working on very thin material, you'll just break it. I've been there before. Like I'm trying to sand a really nice sharp corner on, like, say, the bottom side of an axe or something like that, and I just lose that little corner. It's a feels bad moment. All right, so styrene also comes in a lot of interesting and useful shapes. And so maybe one of these is just a nice little rectangle for us to use. Unfortunately, I think it's a little too thick. I do have a little rectangle. Yeah, it's just a little too chonky. All right, I need a ruler. I swear to God, I had a tiny, there it is. All right, so we know the factory edge is nice and straight. I think what I'm gonna do is I'm going to cut just a straight blade, and then to get the bevels, I will just sand it in, and that should be easy enough. All right, let's think about length here. He's got it kind of off to the side. How about 4 centimeters? That feels too long. How about 3 centimeters? 3 centimeters feels about right for the total length here. What up, En Muerte? I'm new to mini painting, not sure where to start. Should I dive into war games, which I don't know much about, get a 3D printer, or continue with board games with minis? Seems like you got some good advice here in the chat channel. I think it really just comes down to like what you want to do, right? Like if you're a board game player and you have a lot of board game minis that need paint and that excites you, like absolutely go for it. Speaking from a little bit of experience painting board game miniatures for a while now, they are a little bit more challenging to paint. But once you kind of like figure out a couple of tricks, a couple of ideas, a couple of theories, they're actually super easy to paint. Like they're really freeing, and you can like paint one incredibly quickly. But it does take a little bit of know-how to do that. Okay, so that's about where it starts. That's about where it goes to. Let's just cut off a chunk of styrene here that's like more manageable to work with. Styrene's really nice. You can just score it and then snap it. All right, now we're at this giant chunk of styrene. All right, I'm gonna make it longer than I need it to be, and then I can cut off the excess. Sorry, let me get that nice little crispy focus going here. I'm just gonna eyeball parallel. I'm not gonna bother trying to nail it perfectly. Maybe make it a little bit thicker, and then we can sand off anything extra. All right, sorry if you can't see anything. I'm gonna start with some light passes here, some light scores. This is not going to be the kind of thing that I can snap off and break. I'm going to need to cut all the way through. And I'm just going to take a few scores. And then I'm going to keep pushing more and more and more. There we go. Okay, the beginning of a dark saber. I think all we're going to do is the saber and also a little oval guard, kind of like a samurai blade. that is not maybe on a bit of an angle. The Darksaber's guard is on a bit of an angle. And that will give us a nicer place to stick the actual Darksaber into. I would not recommend a 3D printer to start. Yeah, neither would I. 4 scores? Nice. All right, enjoy painting Blood Rage. You have any questions, Nwerte, that we can help with about miniature painting? The question you asked is kind of just, it's kind of more of a thing of, do whatever is fun. That's a pretty basic answer. But, if you have a specific question, we can help out with that. All right, and I think for the other elements of the Darksaber, I shouldn't need an X-Acto knife, and I think I'll just be able to cut it with clippers. All right, I marked a little line that's 3 mil. Let's just put it next to the guy just to see if that feels right. Maybe it's a skosh long. Maybe it's a bit long, but that's okay. We can really fix that super easily. All right. So actually, you know what? I can't cut all the tapers. I can cut one of the tapers with clippers, the harsh taper at the end, but not the gradual one. Okay. So we have a harsh taper at the end. We have an approximate length. Let's see if we can cut this with an X-Acto knife. I don't know if we're going to be able to. You know what? I should just sand it. I shouldn't do what I'm going to do right now. Or who knows? Maybe I can get it done. No, I certainly can't get it done. All right. Let's sand it. I think if I were a smarter person, I would have left more material on the right side of this blade, so I'd have something to hold on to, and then I could just, run it along some sandpaper. As it currently stands, I can't really do that very easily. And then I could cut it out a lot easier as well. I mean, that wasn't that hard to do. Let's just do it again. So now, if I form a blade there, I'll be able to taper it more easily. So just to draw what I'm imagining here. So we have a harsh taper there, and then a wide taper. Something like that, but obviously much smaller. It's going to confuse me if I just keep that there, so I'm going to get rid of it. I just played Blood Rage recently. Do you happen to have the Gideon model? No, I don't have it. But that was an idea I had previously, just to steal that sword. Right, yeah. I think that's not a bad idea, to sand first and then cut out last. What up, Sir Blame? Last Vader stream 2, final reel, point 3. Oh, and Muerte, thanks for the sub. Appreciate it. Yeah, welcome to the Discord. Here's what we'll do. I think I'll know what we'll do. We'll cut a super long taper. And then we'll just chop the sword where it makes sense. All right. So there's that more aggressive taper right at the end. And then where is 3 mil? Which might still be a little bit too long. It's right there. Maybe I should have had a visual reference for what a 3 mil length thing is. You know what? I think there actually is a bit of a taper on this. Yeah. I think that's going to look cooler anyway, so we'll just do that. All right, so is that too thick? Ooh, that looks too thick. All right, so the taper wasn't gradual enough. We'll try chopping it a bit shorter and just see how that feels. I don't know. It doesn't seem too bad for a length, I don't think. Okay, now that we have that, when you cut styrene with a blade, you can't see it, but it creates a burr on the edge. And so we'll just try to wipe that off. Because it's very visible and it gets in the way frustratingly when you are trying to paint. I think the dark saber is slightly shorter than the average lightsaber. At least it looked that way in the Clone Wars animated series. Thank you. Appreciate that. I'm just going to shave off the sharp end of the dark saber to get something of a taper. The miniature hobby is so forgiving with this kind of stuff. Like if I don't have like an edge that comes to a point on my like sword, like it's not going to be obvious. So I'll do a little bit of that side. I'll flip it over. I'll do some more scraping, and I'm holding my knife at an angle here so that hopefully this edge comes to a point, or like, you know, close to a point. Gotta be careful while I'm holding this knife like this and I lean in to blow stuff. I don't stab myself in the fucking eyeball. Cornflake Justice, thank you for the sub, appreciate it. All right, we got a nice little sharper edge here. Let's just continue to check our work here. I think I want to shorten it a little bit, but not shorten it like, I don't want to shorten it too much, but I want to create a tang because the sort of the dark saber is kind of like floating a little bit above the guard. Like it doesn't fully seat there. Like I want to chew out this corner right here. Just a little bit. So there's a tang so it can float above. So if I just kind of nibble away at this a bit. And then when I glue it, I can like glue this little part into the guard and it'll kind of like hover above the guard. So something kind of like this. Let me get a square file though, or a triangle file, or anything with flat edges, honestly, just not the circular one. And I'll start to kind of make this nice and straight. I actually need a flat file because my triangle is cutting away at the other side. There it is. There's my flat boy. Okay. That's notched out more nicely now. And there is a scale Darksaber blade, at the very least. Just gonna run a sanding sponge over it to knock off any... Oh! No! Let's not do that again. Moving a little too fast. Oh God, doing it again. Oh God, I keep kinking it. All right, we're gonna just fix that, and then we're gonna be done fucking with it. Okay, now we'll make a pommel to go on the lightsaber handle here. I'm just gonna cut it at a bit of an angle. Actually, can this work as my pommel? Or is it too small? I kind of want a bigger one. Not pommel, handle, or a guard, god damn it. Gotta use the right terminology here. All right, How do I make a tiny oval out of styrene? Or can I reuse something that is already a tiny oval? I don't really want to make a tiny oval. I guess I could sculpt something with like green stuff or milliput. That would be more than adequate. I just want to wait for it. Don't worry, we don't kink shame. All right, yeah, that's looking pretty straight. Okay, we gotta turn this to the side or else I'm gonna keep hitting my camera. Okay, how do I make a tiny oval? This is almost like something that I should 3D print. No, that 3D print would be fucking ridiculous. What am I talking about? Oh, I know. This is so easy. Oh my God, I'm an idiot. I have solid styrene stock. I'll just cut it on an angle. And that'll get me my oval. All right, let's try this out. Green stuff is a super valid idea as well. All right, there's my oval, right? You cut a cylinder on an angle, now you got an oval. Does it work? Yes, it does. It does work. We just need to somehow figure out how to get like a sliver. Like how do you shave a piece of this off now? I suppose you could shave a piece off. Sorry, you could do this, what you're doing, cut a giant chunk off and then file off the rest until you have the right thickness for a guard. That is an option. What can we do here? Okay. All right, maybe we do that. I'll drill a hole in the middle. A hobby saw would not be a bad idea. Man, you know. Here's what I'm gonna do. You know what? This actually needs to be a straight cut. Right? I guess it doesn't matter. If this part is flat or if this part is angled. Yeah, if this part's angled, then it'll just be straight. Yeah, okay, so it doesn't matter. All right, here's my plan. A cheese slicer. What? My plan is to drill a hole in the middle of this that will eventually be for the tang of my dark saber. But in the meantime, what it'll allow me to do is put a little pin in there, and then I can cut this thing larger than it needs to be, like thicker, I mean. And then with that little pin in there, I can use it as a handle to slowly file down the shape I need. I can like hold it against some sandpaper and kind of scrub at it. Is that the best solution? This is not hard to do. All this stuff is very easy. Let me just try a hobby saw. Let me just chop her up, see what happens. I wish I had the tiny one that worked with an X-Acto knife. I don't though. It's very, very frustrating. All right, past Scott, what the fuck did you do with my hobby saw, asshole? All right, here it is. Oops. Another idea for a solution for how to cut something like this is hobby companies make this thing called I think it's called the Chop It, where you can it's like a little miter station, but instead of it being like a rotating saw, it's just like a razor blade. You just chop it down. There's a fence, so you can stay at 90 degrees. I'm gonna guess there are also other fences to make it a 45-degree cut and stuff like that. I got a little bit of a burr here on the end because of the sawing and how it works. Might have been better just to slice it off. But I think this will work. I think this is going to be good. I feel like past, present, and future Sky should get together and do some organizing of that desk, dude. You and me both. I would love it. This is the kind of thing that you just drop and lose. There's no way you're recovering that. Yeah, this is definitely too thick at the moment. How do I make this smaller without it being a total pain in the ass? What up, Latino Hot? A bigger file. When do we get another desk setup roast video? I'm happy that you guys like that. Probably pretty soon, actually. Just getting rid of the burrs from the saw and knocking at some of the corners with this sponge sanding file. Okay, so now it's an oval, and it looks okay. Let me just stick it here or hold it up against the edge here to make sure that what I want it to look like is what it looks like. No, we need to flip it. Yeah, okay. So that does work, but it is a little too chungus, a little too thick. So we're just gonna need to sand it down a little bit. Actually, let me take a look at the dark saber again. Let me just make sure. Okay, it's not, there's like, there is a angled guard. All right, I know what we're gonna do. I feel like to get that complicated guard shape, you'd be better served to sculpt it out of green stuff and milliput. Possibly. I think that would certainly not be a bad approach. I'm not very confident in my ability to sculpt with green stuff, and so I'm kind of avoiding that at the moment. But you might be right. That might just be the better play. The better play. Let's see if I can just press it down with my finger. Now that is working swimmingly. Perhaps you can 3D print a dark saber. Yeah, maybe. What up, Hanyu Gaming? Just bounce, tap a hobby knife perpendicular to the blade. Interesting. Okay. Wow, that worked so quickly. Now it's pretty damn thin. Okay. Sorry, I'm kind of just this is a thing that I'm sure a lot of you people are familiar with when you are hobbying and you're working on a problem that you're not necessarily sure on the solution to. Sometimes you just sit and stare. Sometimes you just kind of like, you know, take a moment to really think about what it is you're trying to do. What's the next project? I don't know. I haven't thought that far yet. I'm going to use super glue instead of plastic glue. And there's a bit of a metal, I don't know what it's called, but it's like a thing that like hugs the very end of the blade as it goes into the guard. You actually don't see a tang at all. It isn't hovering. I was wrong about that. So I'm gonna glue on an oversized piece of styrene, and then I'm just gonna file it into shape. And this will also give me like more gluing surface to glue it to the little oval that surely I have lost by this point. I do this to myself all the time. I like make a thing and then I just forget about it and then it is gone. Well, what can you do? I just had an airbrush needle and I put it down somewhere and now it's gone. Whatever. All right, we'll just use a little paper clip. Okay, so I've made a little styrene sandwich here. And now what I can do is I can trim it to be the right length. Hopefully I can find that little oval. And I'll just sand this so it's nice and flush. Almost. So now you're gonna get a little bit of a chunky handle. Think you lost my guard? Yeah, I think I did. I think it is gone. Always don't mind doing a brief like rub on. Oh, hey, there's my airbrush needle on the carpet. Nice. Okay. I bet. I put glue on it to check my wrist, yeah. It'd be hilarious if my little white oval thing was stuck to me somewhere. That'd be so funny. All right, we don't need a huge amount of this. We just need a little bit of a wrap. So something like that. You know, it's got a little girthiness at the bottom. It's a little chunk. It's nice and flush in the back, and it'll sit nicely on that guard that has vanished. Let's try to cut this with my clippers. First, let's get this nice and clean. Okay, now I have some pretty sharp clippers here, so looking about the right angle. Pretty good. Do some sanding on the bottom side just to clean it up. put the sexy side up. Can't lose the sword. Okay. I feel like when I made the other guard, it was like way bigger. And this one is like suddenly very small. I don't know why it's so small. Oh, it really pinched off more than it should have. Okay, interesting. Okay, maybe I should. Yeah, okay, that makes a huge difference. All right. Sorry, I'm not saying a whole lot. I'm just thinking a lot. One thing that I'm thinking about right now is that these two pieces should come together to form a straight line, because that's just how it's going to end up working. At the moment, it's very far from a straight line. So I am making too aggressive of a guard here. So if I do a slightly less aggressive angle, the problem is that with a less aggressive angle, the oval becomes less large, and now my little guard situation is too small. It's not long enough. My little blade is like longer than it is wide, or whatever the right term is. So I wonder if I have a solid core of styrene that's just a bit bigger. I doubt I do. How does this compare? Okay, that is a little bit bigger. Nice. Nice! All right, we need to put this sword blade somewhere so I don't fucking lose it. Okay. Got a piece of brass here. Might be larger. All right. I'm calling it. This feels stupid. So all I'm going to do now is I'm just going to clean up what little work I have done so far, and then I'll sculpt the garden milliput. I'm all for exploring different kinds of options for how to do things, but this is just proving to be more trouble than it's worth. So we'll just clean up this little area. Also, using milliput will allow me to fill in this little gap that I have here, my whatever this thing is called. Trying to be super careful so I don't pull off these little bits I super glued on. Okay, is this gonna be straight? Kind of. I need to cut this in the other direction. Honestly, that looks fine. I don't even need a guard. What am I doing with my life? Do I have? I don't have any accelerator. Okay. We're just gonna tap some on here. Some super glue. I mean, that looks totally fine. Okay. Well, that was easy enough. Oh god, don't knock over, please, Vader. All right, let's paint this motherfucker. We're just gonna paint it black. I'm not really worried about priming it at the moment. I did sand all over it, so probably gonna have some more grip. All right, let's give this a shot. It's gonna be rough painting it with paint to begin with, but once that first layer of paint is on, then it'll the subsequent layers of paint will come on a lot easier. Okay, dark saber. It's dark, right? No. I used Muso Black on my dark saber. It worked great. Okay. I am noticing a burr on the edge of the dark saber, and so I'm gonna file that off. It's a little too late to be doing stuff like this, but I just don't want to deal with it because the dark saber has all kinds of stuff like on the edges of it, and I just don't want to deal with that while I'm trying to like paint edge highlights and stuff. Do you have any issues on this side? Maybe. Okay. I've never messed with any of like the Vanta Black or whatever Black 3.0 stuff. I remain unconvinced that the effects that Vanta Black and similar products will have on small scale stuff. On large scale stuff, I have no idea, but I don't think it's going to make that much of a difference on stuff that's small. But I could totally be wrong about that. I think I saw like a video a long time ago where like a content creator like did a comparison. I think it was actually Squidmar. And he was like showing the differences between the blacks, and like there was just literally no discernible difference. Okay. We got our sword, all base coated in black. It is looking fine. They're cool. I just never use them on a part that sticks out because they're the most fragile thing ever. Oh, the paint is fragile. I think it worked for this application because you've got it right up next to white. Okay. All right, let's start with just white and black. And we will begin with a fairly dark gray. And we'll kind of do like a messy edge highlight. So I'll kind of like tap and stab at the edge to kind of get a fuzzy look. And here at the tip, maybe we'll just go to straight gray. I based my Gideon so he was standing towards the back. That way the black saber is almost entirely over the base. Keeps you from getting snagged when gaming. Hey, that's not a bad idea. It's a pretty good idea. I like that. I do want to pick up Gideon just to have more Empire stuff for Shatterpoint. Gideon and also Eden Versio. All right, it's looking good so far. All right, went a little too crazy with the black on this side. Let me just stipple some black in the middle. All right, and now we'll increase the brightness. We'll just do it again. Let's keep doing it until we go all the way to white. Not a whole lot of room to work here. And so we shouldn't need to do too many layers of this. All right, let's just skip straight to white, or something very close to white. Oops. All right. I just missed most of you building the saber blade due to a virtual meeting. The dark saber looks awesome. Thank you, Barrows. Appreciate it a lot. I think it's coming together just fine in terms of a paint job. I think I would like it to be a little bit darker on the inside. Right in the middle of the blade. It's hard to get that kind of transition on. It's so thin apart. All right. Let's take some black paint here, thin it down a little bit, dab off the excess, and maybe try to like paint the core of the blade just with some stipply black goodness. Okay, that's looking all right. Just gonna paint this like sleeve thing here. See if that helps with the overall impression of the dark saber effect. Because this black chunk on the end isn't doing us really any favors. Time to break out the neon white. I wish I had neon white. That doesn't exist, right? AOS looking good. Following it at all? Yeah, I'm following it a little bit. Like I'm kind of aware of the changes that were made to it. Talked to Vince about it on his show a couple weeks back. I haven't like been following any of like the press release stuff. I don't know if much has really changed about the game Has stuff changed since the game actually came out, or we pretty much know everything, right? What was like what's the biggest reveal about AOS 4.0 now that the game is officially out? Do we pretty much know everything? Yeah, I know it's a brand new edition. I am familiar. I think what I'll do is I'll paint, and this is just more sacrilegiousness. I'll just paint the guard red, because the problem I'm having right now is it looks too similar to the blade length, the cutting edge here, and I want it to be distinct. So I'll just destroy more Star Wars canon here and paint the guardy sleeve thing red. It's not officially out yet, is it? Oh, I kind of figured it was. It's not for another 2 weeks. Okay. I think Spearhead hit a large portion of your concerns with the game, right? What do you think my concerns with the game are? I think I know what Spearhead is, and I'm not sure. I know I made a video about it a while ago. J Dreamscape Minis. I don't know if Spearhead really solved much of the problems. It definitely made list writing much easier, of course. Just because you don't have to write a list; it's already written for you. I think I had an issue with the rules being a little too bloated, and AOS 4.0 definitely solved a lot of those problems, right? It made the rules much easier to read, much easier to follow. A lot of good UI changes to the game, so that's definitely good. Right. Yeah, so I know all that stuff. I'm more curious how the game itself is actually changing, you know? Like, I know that they're still doing the whole double turn thing, right? This building overall depth was way more approachable. UX UI. Yeah. Don't feel bad for mentioning it. That's not what I meant to imply. I guess my bigger issues with the game aren't necessarily like how difficult list building. It's just how the game feels to play. I think my biggest complaint with the game was that it just feels like it's very swingy. It feels like the power dynamics can swing really heavily in someone's favor based on one or two events, like the outcomes of one or two unknown events, I suppose I should say. I don't know if I'm making any sense right now. Sorry, I'm very focused on painting this dark saber and this Darth Vader in general before this stream ends, because Lord knows we cannot continue on for another stream. But yeah, basically, in miniature war games, there's randomness, right? There's no way around the randomness. Every miniature war game has it. And some miniature war games, so there are events that occur throughout the war game that you do not know the outcome of. It depends upon some kind of dice rolling, some kind of card drawing, something like that. And the way it feels in AOS is when you encounter those moments, it feels like if 5 of those moments don't go your way, you'll lose the game. Whereas in other miniature war games, if 15 of those events don't go your way, you'll lose the game. That's what I mean when I say that the game feels a little swingy. It's just that when those moments occur and they don't go your way, And it's not about planning for them. That's not what I'm talking about. It feels like you just lose the game faster. I'm kind of curious about that in AOS. I'm kind of curious, like, about the time to kill. Like, Vince told me that the time to kill was reduced and that things die more slowly. I think that's a great change for the game. I'm curious about those things. Thank you, Jay. Appreciate it. Quorm. What's Quorm? By the way, I couldn't imagine how the Red Vader would look back when you started painting him. Now that he's almost finished, I would say he looks amazing. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Appreciate that. Really. He's definitely got some problems. Like, I don't think it's a perfect paint job. I think there are, I don't mean like techniques. I mean like the scheme is a little weird. Hope I'm making sense about AOS. Would the time to kill be increased? I just mean I don't want things to die as fast as they are, or is it felt like they were dying in AOS 3.0. I think the time to kill should be increased. Sorry if I said the wrong thing. And I just want to be clear, like, this is definitely like a preference thing. Like, obviously people might want a game that is more, has more swings and there's more excitement and more action. I totally get that. It just makes it feel bad, when something doesn't go your way. It's like, oh, okay, if 10 things don't go my way, then okay. Losing is more of a palatable experience. But if 2 things don't go my way, then I lose the game, and I kind of perceive as a player that I'm losing because of those things, then that feels especially bad. Does that make sense? It's harder to be tabled. I'm interested in why you said that instead of the time to kill being increased. Is there a different reason why it's harder to be tabled that is not necessarily the time to kill being increased? Miniac Miniatures, I jokingly bring Quorum, free of request, emulator server up. Okay, I got you. Okay, I see what you're saying. Let's talk about the more important parts. More orcs on pigs. Abso-fucking-lutely. Okay, I just want to paint this Darksaber glossy, and then we'll be done. I think if we do that, it'll make the depth of the black look darker, and it also distinguish the sword from the rest of the model and make it look more like a thing, a special thing. If it's the same finish as the rest of the Mini, then it's not going to look very special. Latino Hot, no, I haven't really had a chance to play Old World yet. I am super behind, honestly. There's so many things you can make videos about if you really put your head down and figured it all out. I would love to try out Wood Elves. I would love to make a video where I finish up my Wood Elf army and then play a game. That'd be so much fun. Thank you, man, Zach. Appreciate it. All right, let's get some nice gloss on here. This is just gloss varnish from Vallejo, nothing special. There might even be a tint of red in here. Oops. I might have to paint some more white on the very edge of the top of the blade because I think some red got on there. All right, I'm gonna mute my mic, dry this. Okay, here we go. Here is the dark saber scratch bill wielding red Darth Vader. There's still a bit of a kink in that sword. Let me cover up some of this red that was still in the blade. Thanks, Mike Janae. I appreciate that. Thank you, OSW Zenkiki. Appreciate it as well. It's definitely seemed like one of those things that I would just like start and then never finish. So happy to have that not be the outcome. I don't know. I'm not really convinced by the sword effect that I have going on here. It's hard to make a thing this small look like it's glowing from the edges. Wonder if we do like some... I don't want to. I'm just too scared. I'm too scared. Okay. He's done. I'm done. The last Star Wars scene Boyle made was awesome. I haven't seen that one yet, but I wanna check it out. Okay. I think he'll look good next to the rest of my Star Wars Shatterpoint stuff. But I do want to redo all their bases. I'm not a huge fan of how I ultimately decided to do their bases. I like made them on like some kind of like red and black marble with like some metallic elements. And I think if I just like do them on a nice glossy black floor with maybe some speckles, make it look nice and shiny. And then maybe put in some like metal elements like they're on the ship of a Death Star or a Star Destroyer. I think that would look a lot cooler. So I think I'm gonna end up cracking them all off their bases and doing that instead. Yeah, I'm not sold on the Darksaber. Yeah, it looks cool. It looks cool. Thank you, Retro Evil Inc. Appreciate it. All right. Well, sorry guys that I kind of fell off there at the end of the stream there in terms of, you know, me chatting and being interesting and engaging. I just really wanted to think about what I was doing and make sure I was doing something that made sense. But that'll be it for Red Vader. I have no idea what we're going to paint next, but whatever we paint next, we're going to paint on next Tuesday. Same time, same place, 1 p.m. CST, twitch.tv/Miniac. Been doing it for a while now. We'll continue to do it for a little bit longer. Probably paint some Dark Eldar, get some more Dark Eldar done for my Dark Eldar army. But who knows, you know? Who knows what we're going to decide to do. That's it for Red Vader. I'll stick him on a base later on when I figure out what I want to do with all my Shatterpoint bases. We did the Cloak today and a couple other small accessories. Thank you, Latino Hot. Wait, Scott is normally interesting and engaging? Just kidding. Great job. Satch got me, dude. Rogue Leader Echo. Love that name. Have a safe 4th of July. You as well, guys. Enjoy 4th of July if you're in America and you're celebrating. Or if not, just simply enjoy the date of 4th of July. You know, it would be a good Thursday like every other Thursday. Yeah, guys. We'll figure out what we're going to paint later on. I'm just staring at it endlessly. I just want to make sure that I'm like, am I happy with this? Okay, I'm happy with it. I'm done. All right. Okay. I'll be done. England votes for a new PM on the 4th. Prime Minister? Primarch? All right, guys. I got a date night to go to with my wife. We're going to do some stop motion animation because I watched the ILM TV series, Light and Magic, and I want to try out some stop motion animation. And so we're going to try that out. But otherwise, I'll catch you next week on Tuesday, 1 p.m. CST, same time, same place. Have a great week. See ya.